Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Jai Shri Krishna Sri Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jai Shri Krishna Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jai Shri Krishna Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapte Kanchan Gorangi Radhe Vrindaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Cheva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire. Bolo Shri Radhe Golokananda Bhagwan ki Jai. Bolo SrimadBhagavatam ki
Jai.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prem.
Hare Krishna Krishna ji.
Right, so कल हम लोग श्लोक 33 पढ़ रहे थे of 4th अध्याय canto 7th, yeah, and इसमें नारद मुनि जो युधिष्ठिर महाराज को उत्तर दे रहे हैं, he is telling him about Prahlāda Maharaj, yeah, Bhakta Prahlāda. He is telling him that although Prahlāda Maharaj was born in a family of asuras, he himself was not an asura but a great devotee of Lord Vishnu. Unlike the other asuras, he was never envious of Vaishnavas. He was not agitated when put into danger, and he was neither directly nor indirectly interested in the fruitive activities described in the Vedas. Indeed, he considered everything material to be useless, and therefore he was completely devoid of material desires. He always controlled his senses and life air, and being of steady intelligence and determination, he subdued all lusty desires. And that is what is being mentioned about Prahlāda Maharaj by Narad Muni. Yeah. So we'll continue reading Shlok 34, Kanilji.
Yasmin mahad guna rajan grahante kavibir muhu nate dhuna pidhiyante tat yatha bhagavati shure. O King Prahlāda Maharaj, good qualities are still glorified by learned saints and Vaishnavas. As all good qualities are always found existing in the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they also exist forever in his devotee Prahlāda Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, yeah. So Prahlāda Maharaj is, of course, is glorified. Grihante, he's glorified by all Kavis, like all the Gyanis. Yeah, in all the Prahlāda Maharaj's good qualities are glorified by all the learned sons and Vaishnavas. Wherever they are reciting the Kathas, they glorify Prahlāda Maharaj, is what is being mentioned. And actually, let's read this, Ajay.
From authoritative scripture, it is learned that Prahlāda Maharaj still lives in Vaikuntha Lok, as well as within this material world on the planet Sutala. The transcendental quality of existing simultaneously in different places is another qualification of Supreme Personality of Godhead. Golok iva nivasti akhilatma bhutah. The Lord appears in core of everyone's heart. He exists on his own planet, Golok Vrindavan. A devotee acquires qualities among the same as those of the Lord because of unalloyed devotional service. Ordinary living being cannot be qualified, but a devotee can be qualified like the Supreme Personality of Godhead, not in full, but partially. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, unalloyed devotional service, and that's how Prahlāda Maharaj was. And what is important, which is mentioned here, which is the authoritative scriptures, Prahlāda Maharaj lives in Vaikuntha as well as on the planet Sutal. Do you know where planet Sutal is? How many planets are there total?
14.
14 planets in this
yeah.
universe, right? So ours is Bhu. So where is Sutal? Remember?
It's below.
No, I
Below,
think
right?
it's above, right?
So Sutal is below, right?
Sutra is below.
Yeah. So above Bhu is Bhuva, Swaha, right? And then Janlok, and then Taplok, and the Brahmlok, right? Below us is Tal, Vital, Sutal, and then we have Talatal, and then Patal. So Patal is the bottommost. And as you know, Bali Maharaj was none other than grandson of Prahlāda Maharaj, right? So we'll read him about him, but very interestingly, it's being mentioned that Prahlāda Maharaj, of course, is the greatest Lord Vishnu devotee, right? He lives at both the places. Prem sir?
Yam sadhu gata sadsi ripo pi sura nip pratimanam prakanti bhava drisha. In any assembly where there are discourses about saints and devotees, O King Yudhishthira, even the enemies of the demons, namely the demigods, what to speak of you, would cite Prahlāda Maharaj as an example of great devotee. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So anywhere where sadhu gata sadasi, yeah, they will always talk about Prahlāda Maharaj as a great devotee. Guneralam sankhye mahattamyam tasya suchyate vasudeve bhagavati yashane sargiki rati. Who could list the innumerable transcendental qualities of Prahlāda Maharaj? He had unflinching faith in Vasudeva, Lord Krishna, the son of Vasudeva, and unalloyed devotion to him. His attachment to Lord Krishna was natural because of his previous devotional service. Although his good qualities cannot be enumerated, they prove that he was a great soul. He was Mahatma. Yeah, it's mentioned here, Ashankir Mahattamyam, like innumerable good qualities because of Vasudeva Bhagavati. Yeah, devotion to Lord Sri Krishna. And a nice purpose. So let's read this. Anilji.
In his prayers to the 10 incarnations, Jayadev Goswami says, Keshav Dhrata Narahari Rupa Jaya Jagad Isha Hare. Prahlāda Maharaj was a devotee of Lord Nrsimha, who is Keshav, Krishna himself. Therefore, when this verse says Vasudev Bhagavati, one should understand that Prahlāda Maharaj's attachment for Nrsimha Deva was attachment for Krishna, Vasudeva, the son of Vasudeva. Prahlāda Maharaj, therefore, is described as a great Mahatma, as the Lord himself confirms in Bhagavad Gita 7.19. Bahunam Janmanam Ante Gyanavan Mam Prapadyate Vasudeva Sarvam Iti Sa Mahatma Sudarlava. After many births and deaths, he who is actually in knowledge surrenders unto me, knowing me to be the cause of all causes and all that is. Such a great soul is very rare. The great devotee of Krishna, the son of Vasudeva, is a great soul very rarely to be found. Prahlāda Maharaj's attachment for Krishna will be explained in the next verse. Krishna Graha Grahatatma. Prahlāda Maharaj's heart was always filled with thoughts of Krishna. Therefore, Prahlāda Maharaj is the ideal devotee in Krishna consciousness. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, yeah. And from Bhagavad Gita, it's mentioned Bahunam Janmanam Ante, right? After so many births, at the end of that, Jnanvan Mam Prapadyate. So the Jnani is then surrender unto Vasudeva. Yeah? Vasudeva Sarvam Iti. And Se Mahatma Sudurlabh hai. Very rare to find such Mahatmas, right? And of course, Prahlāda Maharaj is one of the ideal Krishna conscious devotee, is what is mentioned. Ajay?
Nyast Kridanako Balo Jadvant Tam Manastaya Krishna Graham Krishna Graha Grihitatma Naved Jagdish Drisham. From the very beginning of his childhood, Prahlāda Maharaj was uninterested in childish playthings. Indeed, he gave them up altogether and remained silent and dull, being fully absorbed in Krishna consciousness. Since his mind was always affected by Krishna consciousness, he could not understand how the world goes on, being fully absorbed in the activities of sense gratification. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So he was fully affected by Krishna consciousness. Yeah? Krishna Graha Grihitatma. Yeah, Ved Jagdishwara. This Dasham. Yeah. And again, let's read this prayer.
Prahlāda Maharaj is a vivid example of a great person fully absorbed in Krishna consciousness. In Chaitanya Charitram Amrita, Madhya 8.274, it is said, Sthavara Jangama dekhe, na dekhe tara murti, sarvatra haya nij ishtadeva spurti. A fully Krishna conscious person, although situated in this material world, does not see anything but Krishna anywhere and everywhere. This is the sign of Mahābhagavata. The Mahābhagavat sees Krishna everywhere because of his attitude of pure love for Krishna, as confirmed in the Brahma Samhita 5.38. Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochnena Santa Sadaiv Videshu Vilokyanti Yam Shyama Sundaram Achintya Guna Swarupam Govindam Adi Purusham Tam Aham Bhajami. I worship the primeval Lord Govinda, who is always seen by the devotee, whose eyes are anointed with the pulp of love. He is seen in his eternal form of Shyam Sundar, situated within the heart of the devotee. An exalted devotee or Mahatma, who is rarely to be seen, remains fully conscious of Krishna and constantly sees the Lord within the core of his heart. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. So Brahma Samhita. Yeah. And who has been doing the prayers in Brahma Samhita?
Brahmaji?
Brahmaji, right? This is Lord Brahma's prayers to Lord Govind. Yeah. That's what Brahma Samhita is. I think we studied it before we started SrimadBhagavatam. We actually went through the Brahma Samhita. It has shlok number from 25 to 60. It's almost 35, 40 shloks, which is pure prayers of Lord Brahma to Lord Govind. And I mean, the Brahma Samhita, it's mentioned like it's huge, like hundreds of chapters in that. But just the core are those shloks, 35 to 40 shloks, which is Govindam Adi Purusham Tamham Bhajami, right? So one of that, yeah, 5.38, it says, Premanjan Churita Bhakti Vilochanena, like anyone, the one who is always seen by the devotee, whose eyes are anointed with the pulp of love, right? Prema Anjan, right? Premanj, the kajal of prem, right, is what it means. And it says, Shant Sadeva Hridiyeshu Vilokiyanti. So Hridiyeshu, yeah, always situated within the heart of the devotee. What is that? His eternal form of Shyam Sundar is always in the heart of the devotee. Yeah, Yam Shyam Sundaram Achintya Gun Swarupam. And of course, and Brahmaji says that I worship the primeval Lord Govinda. Yeah, that is Adi Purusha. Yeah, Adi is the original primeval Lord. Yeah, Adi and Adi, Govindam Adi Purusha, Brahma Bhajami. So, and that's what the great devotees are always seeing. Lord Krishna is what is mentioned here. Hare Krishna Jyoti.
Hare Krishna. Asinaha paryat nashran shainaha prapi kalu prapi one bhuvat nasura nakari yatati govinda parira mitha mitaha. Prahlāda Mahārāja always absorbed in thought of Krishna, thus being always embraced by the Lord. He did not know how his bodily necessities, such as sitting, walking, eating, lying down, drinking, and talking, were being automatically performed. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yes, always thinking of Lord Krishna. Yeah, it says here that as a father and mother care for their child, Govinda cared for Prahlāda Maharaj, who remained always absorbed in thoughts of Govinda. This is Krishna consciousness. Prahlāda Maharaj is the vivid example of perfection in Krishna consciousness. क्वचिद्रुदति वैकुंठ चिंता शैबल चेतनः क्वचिद्दश्यति तचिंता तलाद उद्यायति क्वचित्. Because of advancement in Krishna consciousness, he sometimes cried, sometimes laughed, sometimes expressed jubilation, and sometimes sang loudly. Anilji? Anilji?
नदति क्वचिदुत्कण्ठो विलञ्जो नृत्यति क्वचित् भावनायुक्तस्त तन्मयो अनुचकारः. Sometimes upon seeing the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Prahlāda Maharaj would loudly call in full anxiety. He sometimes lost his shyness in jubilation and began dancing in ecstasy. And sometimes being fully absorbed in thoughts of Krishna, he felt oneness and imitated the pastimes of the Lord. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah? So this is how Narad Muni is describing the devotional service by Bhakt Prahlāda. Yeah, Ajay?
Kvachidutpal kastushni maste sansparsh nivritah aspand pranayanand salila milite kshana. Sometimes, feeling the touch of the Lord's lotus hands, he became spiritually jubilant and remained silent, his hair standing on end and tears gliding down from his half-closed eyes because of his love for the Lord. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah.
When a devotee feels separation from the Lord, he becomes eager to see where the Lord is. And sometimes when he feels pangs of separation, tears flow incessantly from his heart, half-closed eyes. As stated by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his Shikshastka Yugatinam Nimesena Chakshua Pravas Satyam, the words Chakshusha Chaksusa Pravat Satyam refers to the tear falling incessantly from the devotee's eyes. These symptoms, which appear in pure devotional ecstasy, were visible in the body of Prahlāda Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Jyoti?
What is it me? Okay. Sa uttama shloka padaravindaye nishevyaki vyacha sangala vyaya tanvan ara nivrutti malalo muhu do sangi bilasya manaha shamam yatha. Because of his association with perfect unalloyed devotees who had nothing to do with anything material, Prahlāda Mahārāja constantly engaged in the service of the Lord's lotus feet, pursuing his bodily features. When he was in perfect ecstasy, persons very poor in spiritual understanding became purified. In other words, Prahlāda Mahārāja bestowed upon them transcendental gifts. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, basically Prahlāda Maharaj constantly engaged in the service of the Lord's lotus feet. Yeah, says here, Sir Uttam Shlok Padar Vindyo. Yeah, constantly engaged in the service. Anilji?
Yeah. Apparently, Prahlāda Maharaj was placed in circumstances in which he was always tortured by his father. In such material conditions, one cannot have an undisturbed mind. But since bhakti is unconditional, ahentuki apratihata, Prahlāda Maharaj was never disturbed by the chastisements of Hiraṇyakaśipu. On the contrary, the bodily symptoms of his ecstatic love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead turned the minds of his friends, who had also been born in atheistic families. Instead of being disturbed by the torments of his father, Prahlāda influenced these friends and cleansed their minds. A devotee is never contaminated by material conditions, but persons subjected to material conditions can become spiritually advanced and blissful upon seeing the behavior of a pure devotee. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. You know what is being mentioned is very interesting here, right? That a devotee is never contaminated by material conditions, right? But if the persons who are in material condition, if they get in touch with a pure devotee, they can be spiritually advanced, is what is mentioned here, right? Ajay?
तस्मिन् महाभागवते महाभागे महात्मनि हिरण्यकश्यपु राजन् करोधमात्मजे. My dear King Yudhishthir, the demon Hiraṇyakaśipu tormented this exalted, fortunate devotee, although Prahlāda was his own son. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah? So Prahlāda Maharaj, Mahabhagavate, Mahabhage, Mahatmani, right? That's how he's being referred. And of course, Narad Muni is telling King Yudhishthira how he was exalted, tormented, right? Says here, when a demon like Hiraṇyakaśipu, despite his elevated position, due to severe austerities, begins to tease a devotee, he begins falling down. And the results of his austerities dwindle. One who oppresses a pure devotee loses all the results of his austerities, penances, and pious activities. Since Hiraṇyakaśipu was now inclined to chastise his most exalted devotee's son, Prahlāda Maharaj, his opulences began dwindling. Prem?
Shri Yudhishthira Uvacha Devarsh et dichamo vidintu tav suvrata yadatnjay suddhai pita data sadhve hig agam. Maharaj Yudhishthira said, O best of the saints among the demigods, O best of spiritual leaders, how did Hiraṇyakashipu give so much trouble to Prahlāda Maharaj, a pure and exalted saint, although Prahlāda was his own son? I wish to know about this subject from you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So Maharaj Yudhishthira is addressing us, O best of saints among the demigods, O best of spiritual leaders. Whom is he addressing to?
Narad Muni.
Narad Muni, yeah? Dev Rishi Narad. Maharaj Yudhishthira is then, because all this along, Narad Muni is telling Maharaj Yudhishthira, yeah, he's answering his question of why Sri Shupal was engulfed into Lord Krishna's body after Lord Krishna's Sudarshan Chakra killed him. And that's the answer we are getting about Hiraṇyakaśipu and Hiranyaksh. And so what Mahārāja Yudhishthira is saying is that how did Hiraṇyakaśipu give so much trouble to Prahlāda Mahārāja, even though he was like Pita Dat Sadhveridam, yeah. And of course, Prahlāda Maharaj is the pure and exalted son. So why did Hiraṇyakaśipu was giving so much trouble to him? Jyoti?
Okay. Actually, the font is small. We have to.
Oh, you're not able to read?
So yeah.
Is this better?
Yeah. Putran viprati kulan swan pitaraha putravatsalah upala bhante shiksharadha naivaga maparoyata. The father and mother are always affectionate to their children. When the children are disobedient, the parents chastise them not due to enmity but only for the child's instruction and welfare. How did Hiraṇyakaśipu, the father of Prahlāda Mahārāja, chastise such a noble son? That is what I'm eager to know. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. So Mahārāja Yudhishthira wants to know how is that possible. Yeah. Kimutānuvasāne sadhunstādrisāne gurudevatāne etta kotuhalam brahman smakam vidham prabhu pituha putraya yatta dvesho maranaya prayojita. Mahārāja Yudhishthira further inquired, how was it possible for a father to be so violent toward an exalted son who was obedient, well-behaved and respectful to his father? O Brahman, O Master, I have never heard of such a contradiction as an affectionate father's punishing his noble son with the intention of killing him. Kindly dissipate our doubts in this regard. And in the history of human society, an affectionate father is rarely found to chastise a noble and devoted son. Therefore, Mahārāja Yudhishthira wanted Narad Muni to dissipate his doubt. So that's what he's asking. And this ends the Bhaktivedanta purpose of the 7th canto, 4th chapter of the SrimadBhagavatam entitled Hiraṇyakaśipu terrorizes the universe. Bolo SrimadBhagavatam ki
Jai.
Yeah, so we completed chapter 4, and the chapter 5th is about the Prahlāda Maharaj, the saintly son of Hiraṇyakaśipu. So it talks about the Prahlāda Maharaj. Let's continue reading. We have some more time. So, Anilji.
Shri Narad Uvac Paurohityaya Bhagwan Vrata Kavya Kila Suraya Shandamarko Suto Tasya Daitya Raj Grahantike. The great saint Narad Muni said, the demons headed by Hiraṇyakaśipu accepted Shukracharya as the priest for ritualistic ceremonies. Shukracharya's two sons, Sanda and Amarak, lived near Hiraṇyakashipu's palace. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So as we know, Shukracharya ji is the priest for the demons, right? And Brihaspati is the priest for devatas. And Shukracharya had two sons, yeah, Shan and Amark, who lived near the Hiraṇyakashipu's palace.
That means Shukracharya continued from Hiraṇyakashipu to Prahlāda Maharaj up to Bali.
Yeah, Shukracharya has always been there, right? So,
okay.
Yeah. So, if you just go back, right, like, so there's a whole story about how people born in those times and also in different yugas, how people's age was like 100,000 of years and things like that, right? And in different logs, there are different time periods for how long people can live. Ajay?
Tauragya prapitam balam prahlādam naikovidam pathya masuta satu pathyanya shrasur balkan. Prahlāda Maharaj was already educated in devotional life, but when his father sent him to those two sons, of Shukracharya to be educated. They accepted him as at their school along with the other sons of the Asuras. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. Yeah.
Yatra tatra guruna proktam shruve nupatcha na sadhu manasa mene swaparasadgrahashrayam. Prahlāda certainly heard and recited the topics of politics and economics taught by the teachers, but he understood that political philosophy involves considering someone a friend and someone else as enemy, and thus he did not like it. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, so Prahlāda Maharaj, of course, did not like what they were teaching in Gurukul there. Jyoti?
Yagada Sura Rad Putra Manda Kamartharopya Pandava Prapacha Kathayata Vatsamanyate Sadhu Yadbhavan. My dear Yudhishthira, once upon a time, the king of the demons, Hiraṇyakaśipu, took his son Prahlāda on his lap and very affectionately inquired, "My dear son, please let me know what you think is the best of all the subjects you have studied from your teachers." Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So once upon a time, Hiraṇyakaśipu asks Prahlāda Maharaj, what did you learn in the Gurukul? Shri Prahlāda Vacha Tas tat sadhu manne arsurvarya dehina sada samuddigna dhyam sat grihat hitvatma patam grihamanda kupam vanam gato yat darimashe. Prahlāda Maharaj replied, O best of the Asurs, king of the demons, as far as I have learned from my spiritual master, any person who has accepted a temporary body and temporary household life is certainly embarrassed by anxiety because of having fallen in a dark well where there is no water but only suffering. One should give up this position and go to the forest. One. More clearly, one should go to Vrindavan, where only Krishna consciousness is prevalent, and should thus take shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Yeah, so interestingly, Hiraṇyakaśipu is asking Prahlāda Maharaj, what did he learn? And then he is just telling him that Dehi Nam, right? People who have got this body, right? And they are like Andhakupam, like falling in a well without water. What they should do? They need to go to Vanam. Vanam Gato. Yeah. Yat Harim Ashrayet. Hari is the Lord Vishnu. Hari Ashrayet. Harim Ashrayet. Yeah. That's what, the people in this world needs to do, is what is being mentioned here. Nice purpose. So let's read this. Anilji?
Hiraṇyakaśipu thought that Prahlāda, being nothing but a small boy with no actual experience, might reply with something pleasing but nothing practical. Prahlāda Maharaj, however, being an exalted devotee, had acquired all the qualities of education. Yasyasti bhaktir bhagavate akinchana sarvair gunais tatra samastre surah harab avaktasya kuto mahadguna manora tena sati dhavato bahi. One who has unflinching devotional faith in Krishna consistently manifests all the good qualities of Krishna and the demigods. However, he who has no devotion to the Supreme Personality of Godhead has no good qualifications because he is engaged by mental concoction in material existence, which is the external feature of the Lord. Bhagavat 5.18.12, so-called educated philosophers and scientists who are simply on the mental platform cannot distinguish between what is actually Sat, eternal, and what is Asat, temporary. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. What is Sat and what is Asat? Yeah. So this, Ajay? Ajay, unmute.
Sorry. In the Varnashram system, one first becomes a brahmachari, then a grihasth, a vanprasth, and finally a sannyasi. Going to the forest means accepting vanprasth life, which is between grihasth life and sannyas. As confirmed in the Vishnu Puran 3.8.9, Vrana Sarmacharva Purushen Parapuman Vishnur Aradhyate. By accepting the institution of Varna and Ashram, one can easily elevate himself to the platform of worshipping Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Otherwise, if one remains in the bodily conception, one must rot within the material world and his life will be a failure. Society must have divisions of Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra, and for spiritual advancement, one must gradually develop as Brahmachari, Grihasth, Vanprasth, and Sannyasi. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So what is the Vanprasth Varnashram? Right? What is the Varnashram system? Is that it recommends a human being to be a brahmachari, then a grihasth, then a vanprasth, and finally a sannyasi. So I think in earlier days, you said 100 years. So you say first 25 years is brahmachari, the next 25 years is a grihasth, next 25 years, 50 years to 75 years is vanprasth, and then from 75 years, then you become a sannyasi. Totally sannyasi means totally away from the total control on the senses is the sannyasi, and vanprasth is a transition from grihasth to sannyasi. That's what is mentioned, right?
The name itself, vanprasth, means going towards one.
Right. And what it, right. But really what it means is you are moving towards spiritualism, right? Transitioning to spiritualism. But those are the four varnashrams explained. Yeah, great.
Sri Narad Vacha Shrutva Putra Giro Datya Parpaksh Samahita Jahas Buddhir Balanam Vidyate Parbuddhi Vi. Narada Muni continued, when Prahlāda Mahārāja spoke about the path of self-realization in devotional service, thus being faithful to the camp of his father's enemies, Hiraṇyakaśipu, the king of demons, heard Prahlāda's words and he laughingly said, thus is the intelligence of children spoiled by the words of the enemy. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Jyoti?
Samya Vedāyatam Balo Guru Gehe Vija Tivihi Vishnu Bhakshehi Pratichanayar Vigyatasya Vilyata. Hiraṇyakaśipu advised his assistants, my dear demons, give complete protection to this boy at the Gurukula, where he is instructed so that his intelligence will not be further influenced by Vaishnavas who may go there in disguise. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. So we are going to pause here. Yeah. And yes, somewhere it's mentioned that going to one, like Varnashram in Kali Yuga, is essentially like if you go to Vrindavan and those places, that's like going to one, basically, where you can get your spiritual platform really elevated. So today we are going to hear a very nice bhajan related to Vrindavan. Yeah, it's around 7 to 8 minutes. Very beautiful.
ओ वृंदावन मेरो वृंदावन वृंदावन मेरो वृंदावन श्यामा हृदय कमल सो प्रगट सागर रूप उजागर रहे वृंदावन धाम। सब सुख सागर रूप उजागर रहे वृंदावन धाम। रूप गोस्वामी प्रगट कियो जहाँ, रूप गोस्वामी प्रगट कियो जहाँ, रूप गोस्वामी प्रगट कियो जहाँ, रूप गोस्वामी प्रगट कियो जहाँ। गोविंद रूप निधाने वृंदावन प्यारो वृंदावन, वृंदावन प्यारो वृंदावन, हे वृंदावन मेरो वृंदावन, वृंदावन मेरो वृंदावन। रूप गोस्वामी प्रगट कियो जहाँ, रूप गोस्वामी प्रगट कियो जहाँ। गोविंद रूप निधान वृंदावन प्यारो वृंदावन, वृंदावन प्यारो वृंदावन, हे वृंदावन मेरो वृंदावन, वृंदावन मेरो वृंदावन। विहरत निस दिन कुंज गलन में ब्रज जन मन सुख धाम। विहरत निस दिन कुंज गलन में ब्रज जन मन सुख धाम। मदन मोहन को रूप निरख के, मदन मोहन को रूप निरख के, हे मदन मोहन को रूप निरख के, मदन मोहन को रूप निरख के। सनातन बलि बलि जाए वृंदावन प्यारो वृंदावन, मदन मोहन को रूप निरख के, मदन मोहन को रूप निरख के। सनातन बलि बलि जाए वृंदावन प्यारो वृंदावन, वृंदावन प्यारो वृंदावन, वृंदावन मेरो वृंदावन, वृंदावन मेरो वृंदावन। ओ गोपी ग्वाल सब हियूर धारे प्यारो गोपीनाथ। गोपी ग्वाल सब हियूर धारे प्यारो गोपीनाथ। मधुसूदन जिन कंठ लगायो, मधुसूदन जिन कंठ लगायो जहाँ है रही जय जयकार वृंदावन प्यारो वृंदावन, वृंदावन प्यारो युगल किशोर कुलाड लड़ायो नवल कुंज ये माय युगल किशोर कुलाड लड़ायो नवल कुंज ये माय कुंजन कुंजन की रजधारे कुंजन कुंजन की रजधारे कुंजन कुंजन की रजधारे कुंजन कुंजन की रजधारे जहाँ व्यास युगल यश गाए वृंदावन प्यारो कुंजन कुंजन की रजधारे कुंजन कुंजन की रजधारे जहाँ व्यास युगल यश गाए वृंदावन प्यारो वृंदावन वृंदावन प्यारो वृंदावन वृंदावन मेरो वृंदावन वृंदावन मेरो वृंदावन
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So nice, beautiful bhajan, right? From Vrindavan.
Yes.
And give darshan of, so many deities. There Radha Mohan. And
Was that the ISKCON temple of Vrindavan?
Yeah, there is a big ISKCON temple.
yeah, you did not go to ISKCON temple?
No, I did go. No, I was asking about that bhajan. Were they showing that part of that?
So
Yes.
in between, they were showing the ISKCON deities, right? Like Krishna Balram and Radha Shyam Sundar and Nitai Gaur. But then there are like, I think 6 or 7 other temples
Right.
where like Swami Prabhupada's gurus, right? Like you got Sant Raghunath and all the names were there in each of the parts.
Mhm.
Right? So those were all the gurus, so like Sanatan, and so they established those temples, like Radharaman temple and those. So those were also depicted in each part of the bhajan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But nice, beautiful bhajan, right? From Vrindavan. And just the right timing, that talking about the Vanprastha. Whenever you go to India, I think we should try to visit at least one of those places. We have Ayodhya, we have Vrindavan, so many places there visited. Mayapur. Cool. So it's Wednesday. So again, we'll take a break and see you back on Monday. Yeah.
Okay.
3 p.m.
Hare Krishna, everyone. Good night.
Hare Krishna.